Hi friends, it's me, Miss Bill, and today I'm digging even deeper into the unpopular opinion that drag queens are clowns. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is my honor to introduce to you clown extraordinaire and pretty talented cosplayer too, Beth Grimes. Hello! Hi Beth, thank you so much for making a special guest appearance here on my YouTube channel to help me make the case that drag queens are clowns.
I think we should expand that to include drag kings also. I mean, I myself have been influenced by drag kings as well as queens.
You are so right, Beth, and I need to do my part on being more inclusive by making sure that I include them. So thank you so much for bringing that up. Are drag queens clowns?
Yes.
Are drag kings clowns? Are drag performers clowns? Ah, my mind is blown.
You look great.
It is probably about 90 degrees outside and I am in my garage because it's one of the most quiet places that I can get to in my house. That being said, my tuck is sweating.
My tuck is too, so. I'm Beth Grimes, and I'm a board member of the International Clown Hall of Fame, and I'm a cosplayer. One of my first outdoor performance gigs was crashing an award ceremony back home in my little town as Andy Kaufman's character, Tony Clifton. And I hopped into the limousine that was parked outside the theater, and I would heckle everybody as they went inside the theater. It was awesome.
What made you become a clown?
I had just seen a movie called Benny and June. One of my family members had seen it and said, "Beth, you have to see this. You would love this movie." And as a kid, I was fascinated with silent film. This movie is about a gentleman who is really quirky. Nobody understands him, and he's obsessed with silent film. And the minute I saw that movie, it made me remember all of the things that I used to love about going to the circus as a kid. And so I took to MySpace to try to find somebody else I could talk to about the film. And the first person to respond to me was a Ringling Brothers clown. And he invited me to the show. And the first time I saw Ringling for the first time, it was like watching a silent movie, but three-dimensional and in front of me. And my brain exploded. And I said, I have to learn how to do this. And I've been friends with them ever since, and it's also because of that clown that I have my fiance. My fiance is Gregory Parks. He was on Ringling Brothers for 4 years, and then with Kinoshita Circus in Japan for a while. Can you hang on a second? I'm having a wig emergency right now.
Pause for the wig emergency!
Pause for the wig emergency! I did not use enough bobby pins. Clowning is way more than just wearing something loud and making people laugh. Clowning is taking some aspect of yourself, magnifying it for the purpose of making a connection with the audience, either one person or an entire room full of people, and make it relatable and make the people in the audience either say, I know that person, or I don't want to be that person, or I would love to be that person.
I have been asked, how did you come up with your character, Miss Bill? And my answer for that is very similar to my answer when somebody asks how I came up with my clown character. And that is that I am always just being a larger than life version of who I already am. Just plain old Billy has no hair. So Miss Bill is gonna have the biggest hair that she can have, so I can really amplify that aspect of my character. I'm always just a version of who I am with all of these other layers put on top.
And I think that's one reason why I've always respected you, because those qualities are something that I've always noticed in you, and the people that I have encountered and taken inspiration from. The people that I am friends with that are also drag performers, they use that same technique. They amplify themselves to connect with people. And there's a huge difference between a queen or king or a clown who performs at people and a performer who either performs for people or does something that they would find entertaining and just lets people into their world.
One of my biggest pet peeves of drag performers is when they just get all dolled up and they just go and trot around on stage and kind of just walk around and snatch up their dollar bills. I really like to see queens and kings out there on stage really working for their money and really living on that stage. That's what I want to see. That's who I want to take out a few dollars to tip, not just necessarily somebody that's going to get dressed up and then walk around acting like they're deserving of my money. So I really like to see people out there hustling.
It's the same thing with clowning too. I mean, that's another reason why clowning has such a bad rep, because there are so many people put on a wig and a nose and they go trotting around and expect people to pay them some mind. And when you act like that, it brings the entire community and the entire purpose down. You're not doing yourself any favors. For people to be interested, you need to be interesting. Think of all the other basic ways that clowns and drag queens and kings coincide. We are generally uncomfortable in the outfits that we're wearing, and we perform for you for many hours a day. Traditionally, there's a lot of makeup involved. There's a lot of wigs involved. There's very expensive shoes involved. For those that are not part of the clown community, if you want to be respected, a lot of people expect you to have a minimum $500 pair of shoes on. The ones that I'm wearing today, these are handmade and they're light as a feather. They're wonderful, but again, they are not cheap shoes.
Later on in my clown career, I ended up moving over to just a pair of custom Nikes. And that was because I was dancing and tumbling, and I was doing things that the big floppy shoes would kind of get in the way for, but I eventually sort of had a change of mind for the clown shoe, and now I see it as up to whatever your character choice is for you. Do you know any local queens in your area that you would consider to be a clown queen or king?
Yes, I would have to say one of my favorite local clowns is Victoria Deville. She comes up with the greatest costumes, but what I also like is that she has made me laugh super hard, but she's also made me cry super hard. There's that deep connection with the audience whenever she's in the room, and that's always been something that I respected. One of my favorite kings in town is Vincent the Destroyer. Same with Vincent. There's just a really great connection. And, you know, like on Saturday Night Live, you're always really taken when the characters start to break a little bit. And Vincent's always great because whenever Vincent sees like a super fan in the audience, Vincent takes the time to go over them and share that moment with them. And I tell you what, because of you, I do not leave this house for a professional reason without a rhinestone somewhere on my person.
Yay, really? Because of me?
Because of you.
Oh
you always had special wigs for Spec, and I just always thought that was the coolest thing.
So I eventually had like 3 to 4 styled, ready to go wigs. And one of those wigs was my Spec and Finale wig. But then it just had crystals all glued throughout. So
Beautiful.
When I was hitting that stage, I was twinkling from every direction. I was always asking for more crystals to be put on my costume, and they shut me down. They were like, no, you are sparkly enough.
Part of the reason why I wore this jacket was a tribute to you because of your marching band character that you had when I first met you. This is an exact replica I just made of Jake Gyllenhaal's jacket from the John Mulaney Netflix special, John Mulaney and the Sack Lunch Bunch.
We have this common thread that is clowning and also drag. And it is just something that bonds people together so closely, because when we are clowns, when we are being drag performers, we're putting ourselves in this vulnerable place where we're just letting people look inside us. Now, I have a feeling I know what you're going to say, but do you think that drag performers are helping or hurting the clown community?
I think that they're helping. There are other things that could be done also. Both groups are misunderstood to a lot of people, and there's still this overwhelming falsehood that clowns are out there to get you or be scary or be in your face or make you uncomfortable. People think the same thing about some drag queens, that they might have malicious intent. It would be helpful for us to find common ground, because I really think we can help each other out here.
As we all know, drag is out of control popular right now, whereas clowning isn't necessarily the most popular thing coming to everybody's mind.
There was a point in time where clowning was hella popular too. They had TV specials that were circus related all the time. You had kids TV shows that featured clowns, like Big Comfy Couch, and there were clowns clear back going to like Howdy Doody and Coco the Clown in the 30s. We're not in everybody's living room anymore, whereas drag queens are everywhere. The clowning needs to find a way to get back into the mainstream again.
So Beth, tell me, why do you think some drag performers might be offended to be called a clown?
Clown can also be used as an insult. Seen it used in the drag community as like wearing too much makeup or being too loud. The stipulation of all of this is whatever your style is, if that's what you're comfortable with, go ahead. How many professions do we have where someone is bold enough to just walk right up to somebody in the middle of what they're doing and say, I hate you, I don't like you? But for some reason, people do that to both drag performers and clowns. Clown has become a C word. There's so many performers like myself that have had to change what we call ourselves or else we can't get gigs. And I mean, even the hospital in town, the minute I said the C word, they hard stopped me and said, we have a no clowns policy, which broke my heart. This makes a lot of people uncomfortable. There's so much fear and self-consciousness involved in my real Beth self without any freebies on. This gives me an excuse to find the positive parts of myself and try to help people relate.
I relate to you, and I love you so much, and I'm so grateful that you took time out of your day to come help me make a case that drag queens and kings are clowns. Tell my followers where they can find you on social media.
All right, on Facebook, I'm silent.beth, and you can find me on Instagram too, @VictrolaVixen, and I'm also on Reddit and Imager also as VictrolaVixen. Kisses, hugs.
Beth had some pretty amazing things to say about drag queens and kings being clowns. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Okay, how the hell do I get off?
I'll end it.